Hello everybody. It's been 3 years since I last made a video, but I figured this is probably worth bringing to people's attention. It's enough to irritate me. Um, Personally, my deck is in a good spot because of it, but this is only if it actually goes into activation or effect, whatever you want to call it. Konami, being the brilliant mind that they are, decided to, instead of allowing a format to continue in peace, it feels like they're getting ready to do something really stupid. I saw a video today about possible rules changes to all of Edison format and goat format and hat format rules. Like any of these Time Wizard formats that are popular enough to run, they have seemingly chosen to do just, in my opinion, one of the most boneheaded moves they could. By upgrading, I'll say upgrading, because it's more of a shift in some ways, a buff in some ways, and a nerf in a lot of other ways to the current standings of classic formats like Goat, Edison, Hat, etc., where they are now going to be using modern rulings. So cards like Necro Valley here are now at their apex. Gale is now sufficiently worse. Uh, Goyo is almost unplayable. Priority is removed, so cards like, well, the aforementioned Gale, you can't prio Gravekeeper's Descendant. You can't prio Brio is a good one. You can't prio Brio anymore. There's a lot of removal effects that got way better with the changes to prio. Prime example being compulsory evacuation device and bottomless trap hole. These two cards got insanely good. Then we have Raikou, who now has simultaneous effects on their card, which, while in theory is great, some of the niche interactions you could perform with Raikou in the older formats are now lost. Because everything happens at once, there is no chain stacking on Raikou. To where the pop effect would happen, and then before the mill effect could resolve, you could bounce it or put it back in the deck or whatever, and then the mill effect would just never happen. Because it says apply these in sequence, so if you applied them out of sequence, it would not work. Now it just happens all at once, which, I mean, great for Raikou enjoyers like myself, but it's annoying for people that liked the intricacies and interplay involving them. Another one that I thought of immediately when I saw that this change might be happening was Substitoad. Substitoad loses priority, so it doesn't get to go thermonuclear the second it hits the board. It has some window of interactivity, which is great, but it also kind of kills the deck. Same with Future Fusion. Future Fusion, you're no longer pitching 5 to grave turn 1. You have to wait till the next turn, which means you could invest in this, have it MST'd, heavied, whatever you want to do, breakered over here. It is now fully interactable, so a couple of decks that relied on it to get moving or to have their big show up turn are now just kind of gone to the wayside. They're probably still kind of relevant, but not really. Also, current card rulings is another problem because Absolute Zero, a meta-defining card, is now objectively worse because it only triggers, at least with the current ruling, when it is destroyed. It is showing the Edison ruling at present. But compulse and banish effects, from what I heard from somebody else, I could be wrong, but they no longer trigger him. So Ab Zero is worse. Is he bad? No, he's still great. But I think the hardest hitting nerf here is Go-Yo Guardian. This Go-Yo Guardian now requires an Earth Tuner. He didn't originally, and that's what made him good. Same with Brain Control. Brain Control in this new sense is probably getting the raw end of the deal because it says it has to be a normal summon or settable monster to steal it now, which means Mind Control is now the better way to play. Yes, it can't attack, but you can still do stuff with it. Unlike the aforementioned Brain Control, because this is not predicated to normal summon and set monsters. So this went up a peg, Brain Control went down a peg. If you want to do Mind Control shenanigans, if you want my honest opinion, and now these cards are garbage, I will say this, but now if you want to play a Snatch Steal type of deck, the only one that's super viable is Arc Fiends. And they're not viable at all. So, yeah. The Chess Boys are, like, objectively the best Snatch Steal deck in the game, and they're still cheeks. It's like, let's take a look at all the Arc Fiends that are legal in the format. Yeah, no, there is literally no reason. Like, Mad Arc Fiend is cool. Arc Fiend Soldier is cool. Arc Fiend General is fine if you're planning on playing Pandemonium. Infernity Arc Fiend. Suppose if you wanted to, you could try to make some kind of cheesy Infernity list. Because all it requires, I believe, for falling down is that you control an Arc Fiend. Yeah. So, like, stealing effects are kind of bad now. Priority doesn't exist, so Bryoke doesn't exist. Also, it got the double-edged sword, or it got a double whammy, rather, because it can now only target your opponent's stuff instead of itself. So, it is getting sufficiently worse. Is it still playable? Yeah, I think it still makes the cut in the deck. In any deck that wants to play a bounce effect. It's probably still fine in zombies as a spot removal piece for your opponent's boss monsters, but I don't think you're going into it nearly as often to do as many heinous things as you were before. Um, then as for Goyo, let's just look up for the sake of brevity. Um, monster, subtype, tuner, attribute, earth. Okay, so there's a few. It's like you have Airbellum, which is fine. You have Psychic Commander, which is fine. Um, I've seen a couple of decks running Shiva Warrior Taro. Full Helm is fine if you're playing X-Sabers. Nettles. Nettles is only good in one deck. And even then, it's only like passable in that deck. Psychic Jumper is cute, honestly. It might be my replacement for Krebens in this list. Or I remove, like, I don't know. I know I need to make some adjustments to this list. I have a different version that I've been liking a bit more, but I like the pure aspect of this list. Is it flawed? Yeah. But it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I suppose I should get over my rant. I was going to talk about Gravekeepers today, but it kind of got thrown to the wayside. So I'll do a deck list on the next one. As a Gravekeeper player, these changes are huge for you in a few ways. For one, you're a trap deck. A lot of your traps got better. Two, the field spell rule changed, so you can keep a Necro Valley while somebody else has their field spell up. Number three, AFD is slightly worse. Still good, but slightly worse. The AFD hit was just bad enough that I cut it from the deck. Because I was originally going to try to, I also fully plan on showing off the Gear Town version of this deck, which I think is just better. But, now that Necro Valley is using its current rules text, Vayu no longer works. Ronin Totem, I don't think exists yet. I could be wrong. Ronin Totem doesn't exist. Okay, so he's not to worry about. But like Plague Spreader Zombie doesn't come back. Colossal Fighter doesn't come back. Now that I'm looking at that, I need to remove Colossal Fighter from this deck, I think. And instead, probably put in Dark End Dragon. Yeah. Alright. Another thing, Stardust Dragon. Got way better. Got way better. Because a lot of its key outs got gutted. Because you can't Prio Gale. Get rid of it. Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff that is being fundamentally warped because of the potential. Like, this is not a confirmed thing, to my knowledge. I know that I saw a video on it, who saw a post about it from a Konami official source, but it's Konami. They're as flippant as they are um, insufferable at times. So it really comes down to if they decide to pull the trigger on this. As for all we know, it could stay perfectly fine and it doesn't matter. Or they could turn it into how you're supposed to run the OTS, which completely guts the top meta. And also, a card that I'm excited if it does get better. Um, like if this change does happen, Aaron. Aaron is now one of the best removal spells in the game. Because Reiko won't trigger, because that was a ruling that existed back in the day, where it would still flip. Now it doesn't. So, Reiko will not trigger. Super Nimble Mega Hamster will not trigger. Rescue Cat got its errata, which is not the end of the world, but you can't loop it every turn anymore. So it's probably not broken anymore. It's still probably you're only using Rescue Cat once, typically. Let's save that. Let's see. Edison Lightsworns. What all got hurt? You're worse. You're worse. You're worse. You're better. You're worse. You're worse. You're worse. You're worse. Quite literally, like 80% of this deck just got indirectly or directly touched by these changes. So Lightsworns are now probably kind of mid. I don't think that they're bad by any stretch of the means, but they're not. Oh, also, Card Trooper is probably fine now, honestly. Because you can't Prio Mill 3 make it 19. You have a window of interactivity. Holy crap, I'm yawning a lot. I can no longer play Go-Yo in this list. I'll have to make an adjustment later. Well, that seems an easy fix. There we go. Safely remove that, because it's not good anymore. Slide Plague in. Cyber Dragon. We cut Parsath for Chimera Tech. I don't know why that wasn't in there in the first place. Honestly, I get rid of you. I'm not doing black garden cheese. What was I just gonna put in here now? Oh, yeah. Glad Beast really only got touched by the cat nerf and by the Gore's buff. And actually, no, it got buffed quite a bit. I think Glad is probably pretty well suited in this format. Because I do need to put a tuner in here though if I want to make any of my synchros. Because I don't run any snatching effects either. Yeah, no, there's no tuners in here. They're probably just filler anyway. So Edison is perfectly fine. Black Garden Crystal Beasts. Aside from the touch to rescue cat and AFD, they are unchanged. And I think, honestly, might creep in. They might creep in. Because they do have a pretty good grind game. And with the hit to other decks, they might be a bit better off. Gear Town Gravekeepers are eating good. They're eating good. I honestly really do need to adjust the original Gravekeeper list. Need to do some stuff. But that's even without the potential changes. I'll be back with a couple of deck lists.